Welcome to this explainer. If you work in enterprise IT, you already know that Active Directory is essentially the central nervous system of your entire network. Today, we're opening up Chapter 13 of the source material to put together a top-down survival guide to mastering it. Whether you're provisioning hundreds of users or trying to diagnose some bizarre replication failure, we're going to demystify the architecture and give you the actionable tools you need to command the forest. Let's get into it. Here's our roadmap for Chapter 13. First, the network nervous system. 2, forests and domains. 3, domain controllers. 4, users and policies. 5, securing the domain. And finally, we'll wrap up with a practical 30-day action plan. Okay, Section 1, the network nervous system. Before we can start turning knobs and writing scripts, we really need to understand the ultimate purpose of this massive infrastructure. So the absolutely crucial point here is that Active Directory is your single pane of glass. It's built on LDAP for querying directory data and Kerberos for secure access. Basically, it allows one single admin console to manage thousands of users, computers, and security policies completely seamlessly. Because honestly, without it, you'd be stuck configuring every single laptop and file share manually. And to put into perspective why this matters so much, over 90% of enterprise environments out there run on Active Directory. It is without a doubt the absolute #1 skill for Windows system administrators. If you master this, you master the enterprise. Now, what's really fascinating is the invisible 5-step Kerberos authentication process that's happening in the background every single time a user logs in. You enter your credentials, your machine contacts the key distribution center on the domain controller, and you receive a TGT, which is a ticket granting ticket. You then use that TGT to request specific service tickets for whatever resources you need. The absolute beauty here is that your password is never actually transmitted over the network, which makes it vastly more secure than the old legacy NTLM authentication. Moving on to Section 2, forests, trees, and domains. Let's see how this all builds into the actual logical architecture and hierarchy. Think of your IT infrastructure as a map. The forest is your absolute top-level security boundary, sort of like a country. All the domains inside that forest implicitly trust each other. The domains themselves are the core administrative units, like cities within the country. And finally, organizational units, or OUs, are the specific neighborhoods where you group your individual users and computers together. When you're building out those OU neighborhoods, there are some strict rules you should follow. You definitely want to mirror your actual organizational or geographic structure. But please keep it flat. Going any deeper than 5 levels makes administration and troubleshooting a total nightmare. Always keep your users and computers separated into different OUs, mostly because they just require totally different policies. And remember this key takeaway. OUs are strictly for scoping group policy. They determine where rules apply. You do not use them to define security access. All right, Section 3, the domain controller engine. Let's zoom in a bit further to the physical machines that actually run this entire city. Now, Active Directory uses what's called a multi-master database, which means most changes can be made anywhere in the environment. But to prevent networks destroying conflicts, we have 5 specific Flexible Single Master Operation, or FSMO rules. These are assigned to handle really critical, specialized tasks. For instance, the PDC emulator handles password changes across the whole domain, while the Schema Master is the only machine in the entire forest that is allowed to alter the directory's core structure. Because you should always have at least 2 domain controllers for fault tolerance, they constantly need to sync changes. And they do this using 2 very different replication speeds. If they're sitting in the same physical site, intra-site replication is nearly instant, triggering in about 15 seconds. But if they are across the globe from each other, inter-site replication drops to a 180-minute default and heavily compresses the data to save your precious WAN bandwidth. Section 4, users, groups, and policies. The infrastructure is built. It's replicating, so now it's time to manage the citizens and the laws of our Active Directory city. Here is a golden rule for you right out of the gate. Never, ever assign permissions directly to a user account. You want to rely entirely on security groups. You'll use domain local groups to actually assign permissions to a resource, like a shared folder, and you use global groups to organize your users by their job roles, like, say, the HR team. Which brings us nicely to the Microsoft-recommended AGDLP nesting strategy. It stands for Accounts Go into Global Groups, which go into Domain Local Groups, which are then granted permissions. What this means in practice is that changing a user's access is as simple as just dropping them into a new global group. It completely saves you from manually hunting down and touching dozens of individual file share permissions. And to govern those users, we rely on GPOs. Group policy objects are literally the laws of the land. They enforce password complexity, they map network drives, or they even force that mandatory corporate wallpaper on everyone's desktop. They follow a very strict processing order too. Local, then site, then domain, and finally OU. And the policy that is closest to the object, meaning the OU level, always wins. Section 5. Securing the domain. We've got to lock the doors because a highly organized directory is still a massive, incredibly lucrative target for credential theft. You absolutely must implement the Microsoft tiered admin model. Tier 0 is your domain controllers. Tier 1 is your servers, and Tier 2 is your workstations. The absolute golden rule here is isolation. You must never use a highly privileged Tier 0 account to log into a Tier 2 workstation. If you do that, a compromised end-user laptop could easily harvest your cached credentials and just hand over the keys to the entire forest to an attacker. When you're securing file access, you'll always encounter share permissions and NTFS permissions. Want a quick tip to bypass the confusion entirely? Set your network share permissions to everyone, full control, and then lock down the actual granular access exclusively through local NTFS permissions. They're far more precise, and they apply whether the user is logged in locally or over the network. The classic Friday afternoon help desk mystery, the phantom account lockout. Before you assume it's some hacker brute forcing the network, take a breath and look inward. The culprits are almost always cached credentials on a user's mobile phone, stale mapped drives trying to connect in the background, or a Windows service that's still trying to run on an expired password. Just check Event ID 4740 in your security logs, and it'll tell you exactly which computer is throwing the bad password. Finally, Section 6, your 30-day action plan. We've covered a lot of massive theoretical architecture. Let's finish up with an actionable survival framework for your first month on the job. Spend your first 2 weeks simply understanding and auditing your environment. Run health checks on your domain controllers. And most importantly, lean heavily on PowerShell. You can use commands like search-AD account to easily find security risks, like accounts that have been inactive for over 90 days. And you can do it all without touching or breaking a single thing in production. Once you hit weeks 3 and 4, it's time to shift from auditing to automating, so the network essentially monitors itself. Build a safe test OU for your policies, take all those PowerShell scripts you just wrote and schedule them in Windows Task Scheduler to run your weekly reports automatically. And please, document your infrastructure map, your FSMO role holders, and your GPOs into a disaster recovery runbook for your team. You'll thank yourself later. Active Directory is vast, and its health quite literally dictates the security of your entire organization. But with a structured approach, a solid understanding of the logical hierarchy, and a bit of PowerShell in your toolkit, you're no longer just reacting to help desk tickets. You hold the keys to the kingdom. But keep this in the back of your mind. With just one wrong click in Tier 0, that entire kingdom can fall. So ask yourself, are your administrator accounts truly as isolated as you think they are? Thanks for joining me for this explainer of Chapter 13, and I'll see you next time.